everything in our life is a relationship. Absolutely everything. We have a relationship with our business. We have a relationship with our bodies. Our bodies, our systems in our bodies have relationships with each other. Everything we do has a relationship.
You are now listening to the Going North podcast with your host, author and speaker, Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, you're going to hear the voice of a different author share their stories, expertise, and their struggles that they had to overcome in life to leave you inspired to get more out of your life. Be sure to not only listen to this episode, but share with others, connect with the authors, and always advance others to advance yourself. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, where we bring you fabulous humans from across the globe doing some ordinary, beyond ordinary things that are at an extraordinary level, today is no different. Because today we have an award-winning high-performance coach. That's right, y'all. No weed today, but we have a award-winning high-performance coach. I mean, how many times you get to speak with an award-winning high-performance coach, as well as a trainer and Amazon best-selling author, international motivational speaker, and founder of crownyourself.com. That's right, folks. Crowns all day, y'all. And the beautiful thing about that site is she's helping entrepreneurs to achieve holistic success and happiness with their bodies, businesses, and relationships. From her entrepreneurial beginnings at 5 selling bags of glitter water to her neighbors, to becoming an award-winning screenwriter, certified Pilates instructor, Miss Congeniality, and six-time WeGo Health Activist Award nominee. This wonderful lady right here is proof that it is better to make your own mold than to conform to someone else's. And she's also the former executive of an e-commerce company and was the owner of a LA-based private Pilates studio, Fitness with Kim. Her journey was recently featured in the Amazon bestseller, The Start, Journey to Entrepreneurship. And it doesn't stop there, folks, because their work has been featured in all sorts of places like the CW, ESPN, and NPR, as well as Oxygen Magazine and Girls Life Magazine. And she's got a book coming out in September, the M&M book, Mindful Meals, How to Dethrone Food Fears and Rein in a Body That Rules. And you're probably wondering who this wonderful lady right here is. It's the one, the only Kimberly Spencer. How are you today, ma'am?
I am doing amazing. Can I bring you everywhere and have you introduce me? Between the resonance of your voice and just like hearing your bio back to like said back to you in a way, it just, I'm like, oh, dang. Oh, damn. Good job, me. And it's a comment that I get a lot from guests that I interview on my podcast as well. They're like, oh my gosh, I have done a lot. Because I think one of the things is, especially as high performers, and this is something I deal with a lot of my clients, is they don't give themselves enough credit for the things that they've accomplished in their life already. And so I say to crown yourself or celebrate yourself, because all of what you have done to this point is unbelievable. I mean, you've gotten this far. So it might as well be celebrated.
Amen to that indeed. Amen to that indeed. And you're right, too, especially right as a high performer. It's like you're always probably focused on what's next. You never get a chance to actually take a deep breath and actually take a gander. So it's like, oh, shoot, I actually did this stuff. Like, wow, just drink it in for a moment.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I get most as feedback from my clients is that they either take leaps and bounds of courage that they didn't think they had in them initially. And number two is celebrating yourself. It's really acknowledging how far you've come, what you've done in this world, and who you've become in the process, and how you've transformed in the process. And because sometimes when you're in the thick of a struggle or a challenge or an obstacle and it's feeling kind of sucky, like suddenly when you recognize how far you've grown on that deep internal level, that's where fulfillment lies. Like, yes, there's success, but really success without fulfillment, it's always lacking. It's lacking for that wholeness, that holistic harmony that comes when you are living on all cylinders, totally fulfilled and happy and feeling successful, which is possible.
That's right. It is possible indeed. You too can put the hole in that donut hole. That's right.
You just gotta sugar it, add some glaze. It's like makes it all tasty.
That's right.
That's exactly what fulfillment is, though, in a way. Like it's the sugar and the glaze on the donut. Like, you can have the donut, but without the sugar and the glaze, it's just like it's a crumpet.
Oh man. Heck, is that gonna be part of the new book, Success Glaze?
That'll be my follow-up to Mindful Meals. let's get this one out first. So, because oh my gosh, Tom, I can tell you, like, this book has been 5 years in the making. And so, yes, I do already have like this series of books, not based off of this one. This one's a solo book on its own, but I do have several books that are next, that I already know are next. But my gut, my soul, my everything has been saying for 5 years, get this book out, get this book out. And honestly, I was struggling for a couple years about getting this book out because I had thought, oh, well, this is, do people really need this? Do people really need another book about how to eat? And I'm like, well, that's not what the book is about. Like, the whole book is about mindful meals, which is how to eat consciously, how to think of your body consciously. And it's all the strategies that I went into reprogramming my own mindset from a 10-year battle with bulimia. And so when I was in the thick of it, and if you've ever been through any sort of transformation or something that, like, you just don't even recognize yourself as to how you acted or how you were before, seeing that person, it's like it's a foreign thing. You're like, oh, I don't know. Doesn't everybody think about food this way? And I had to remember that and remind myself that when I was working with my clients, not everybody had the same thought processes around food or around their bodies as I did. Because for me, after reprogramming my mindset and healing from 10 years of bulimia, I didn't really I had transformed myself so much to the extent that fearing gaining weight, fearing losing weight, like when I was pregnant, I remember I had a client ask me, she's like, "Oh my God, Kim, aren't you scared? Like, what about, how are you going to lose the weight?" And I was like, that fear hadn't even entered into my awareness. It hadn't even entered into my ozone layer, because it's just, it's a totally different identity shift. And so that's really what this book is about. It's not a how-to of eat this, don't eat that. Like, there are so many books like that. And if that's what you're looking for, then rock on, but that's not this book. Like, this book has come to me, and over the 10-year battle that I had and the reprogramming of the identity shift. So how do you reprogram yourself from someone who body bashes, from someone who, in my case, had bulimia, had severe body image issues, who was very, very unkind to her unconscious mind? How do you change that into somebody who loves their body, who is just ecstatic and joyful and confident, and fears of losing weight, gaining weight, not working out, eating the wrong thing? Like, it's it was it had become so foreign to me because I had shifted my entire identity into being somebody that no longer even saw those as a possibility. Like there was no fear involved whatsoever with my body anymore. And that's really what the book is about. It's about how do you shift? How do you change your identity? And yes, it's specifically geared toward food and body image, but you can apply these strategies to any area of your life that you're struggling, whether it's your business or your relationships or your finances, because those same strategies are your internal success strategy that you have within you.
Beautiful right there. Beautiful right there. Congrats on the fact that you're able to like overcome the self-doubt of the fact that it's like, oh man, another foodie book. All the food out there. It's like it really doesn't really matter. It's like, yeah, even though folks may think the market may be oversaturated with certain things, it's like, yeah, another recipe book, but it's like you're putting your own spin on it. You actually
Mm-hmm.
putting your story into it, and especially the fact that when your clients brought up the facts like, hey, aren't you scared about the baby and all the extra weight that's going to come? It's like, oh crap. Well, thanks for adding another brick to this giant house of like despair and negativity.
It just, like, it didn't even enter my awareness, and it was so amazing to think, oh my gosh, like I remember when I was 18 years old and I was in the thick of it. I was in the thick of the struggle and my eating disorder and all of that. And I remember like making a vow to not have kids. And I have always wanted to be a mother. It has been the title that has most scared me. My son just turned 2 yesterday,
Woohoo!
and yeah, I know he's so cute. He's so amazing. And I've always wanted to have that, and I know I could, but I couldn't have it when, I mean, obviously I didn't want to have a baby when I was 18, but it was more than that. I didn't want to have a child. I didn't want to bring him into this world, or any child for that matter, into this world with the belief, the mindset, the space that I was in back then. And it was interesting because something I talk about not only in the book or in my writings or on my blog or on my podcast is that your subconscious mind or your unconscious mind is kind of like an iceberg. So you have all the stuff that's at the top that you see, and then that like 2/3 of the iceberg is underneath the water. And that's your subconscious programming. That's all the past conditioning. And what happens is in some form or some area of your life, when you are able to flip that iceberg upside down and have this glorious sun melt away all that crappy subconscious programming, if there's still a little bit of self of a belief in lacking self-worth or in a belief of not being enough, it will jump icebergs. It will jump forms. So it'll jump from your relationships to your business, or it will jump from your business to your body, or it'll jump from, in my case, it jumped from my body into my relationships into my business. So it jump forms in all areas. And so, I mean, it's been a glorious ride of looking at, oh, the same strategies that worked for me, reprogramming my mindset around food and my body, were the same ones that I put into place to reprogram my mindset around being in really, really bad relationships where I didn't value myself. And fortunately now I have an amazing husband, just like so I transitioned from that. And the same thing of not valuing myself or my worth, then that iceberg, I flipped it with relationships, I flipped it with my body, but then it got permeated into the deeper structure of my first e-commerce business and the struggles that I went on with there and with devaluing myself and my worth. And all of that is something that I think is so essential to be addressed, that just because you may have overcome it in one area, look at where it could be possibly showing up in some other iceberg form.
Like lettuce, right?
Like lettuce? How like lettuce?
Yeah, iceberg lettuce.
That was a really good dad joke. That was a really good dad joke.
Yep, low hanging fruit every time.
Iceberg lettuce is not my favorite. I mean, it's definitely good on a taco, but iceberg lettuce, I'm more of a romaine kind of gal.
There you go. That's right. Romaine. Yes, indeed. That's right. Out in the state of Maine, where you row the boats gently downstream.
Dropping the dad jokes, Dom. Well done.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's amazing though the fact that it's like the whole self image and the body image is like went from B to B to B. It's like the business, the bodies, like and the
Mhm.
bank accounts, the businesses and everything. It's kind of interesting how it's like it's kind of like the whole mindset like drives everything else in a way. It's like your inner compass.
Mhm. Well, I mean, scientifically, they've studied the unconscious mind, and or some people call it the subconscious mind, and it drives about 95 to 97% of your programming. I mean, and I'll give this example quite often of how often do you take a new route to work? How often, and even if you have to take a detour, like let's say you hit traffic, like how often have you taken that detour when those moments of traffic? How often have you changed up your habits? Like you're not consciously changing your daily routine, most likely. Like most people operate in the same way, in the same pattern, 95 to 97% of the time. That's why willpower is so highly overrated. And that's why most diet books, that's why specifically I didn't want to write another diet book, because a lot of it requires and relies on willpower. And I say, think of it like a boxing match. Like if you were betting on a boxing match and the champion had a 95 to 97% chance of winning versus the incumbent, the challenger has a 3 to 5% chance. Like, would you really bet on that 3 to 5% chance? No, most likely not. So, why is it that we think of it, our success in any realm, whether it's in our bodies or in our businesses or in our relationships, why is it that we bet on willpower to win? That's why most resolutions, the average time span for a New Year's resolution in America to be kept is 7 days. Like, and while you may think like, oh, that's really sad, at the same time, it's quite accurate to, and a testament to the power of how strong willpower really is. And it's not that strong. So, what is strong? How can we back the subconscious mind? How can we reprogram and recondition our mindset so that we can start, so that the champion can keep winning and have the benefits of a little bit of willpower in certain areas? How can we challenge it? And so that's what I address in mindful meals. And the number one thing that I have found is, how do you consciously speak? How are you speaking about yourself? How are you speaking about your circumstances? How are you speaking to others? And what are you speaking about? Your language is a command to consciousness itself. Your language really is your compass as to where your mind is going to go. Your unconscious mind is listening to everything. So if you're gossiping about a friend, or if you're gossiping about a coworker or your boss, and you're saying nasty things about your boss, your unconscious mind is registering those as personal, like, because it takes everything personally. And it's listening constantly. So it's, because it takes everything personally, it's also directing where you're going to go. So if you're saying nasty things about your boss and like, oh, she looks so whatever today, or she's in such a crappy mood, Well, perception is projection. So like look at how your own mood is being projected. Look at how you're directing your unconscious mind to think about people. I mean, that's one of the things with a lot of my high performing clients. One of the things that they struggle with, specifically in the business realm, is comparisоnism. Because I think it is an ism. Like normally it's just comparison, but I think it's like an ism, like a problem. So, so I made up a word, and it's a problem that permeates enough that it deserves its own word. So one of the things that they struggle with is comparing themselves to other people, and immediately they're projecting this judgment on other people that they can't have that, or they'll never be able to achieve that, or whatever other limiting belief. And it's really just only a reflection of their own limiting beliefs that they have going on inside of them. So the number one thing that I always tell people in any, whether I'm working with them on their relationships or on their body or on their business, is how are you speaking about it on a daily basis? How are you speaking about yourself in relation to it on a daily basis? How are you relating to it? Because everything in our life is a relationship. Absolutely everything. We have a relationship with our business. We have a relationship with our bodies. Our bodies, our systems in our bodies have relationships with each other. Everything we do has a relationship and is a relationship. Now, is your relationship like, if it were to be a Facebook status, would you be would you be married to your body? Would you be happily married to your body? Would your body and your relationship with you and your body need some counseling? And if that is you, if you are the latter, then Mindful Meals is 100% for you. It's for the people who have struggled with food feeling like a chore, and with like bashing their body and trying to like push it to make it this thing that they want it to become, versus allowing it to be what it is and then enhancing. And so it's simple tweaks, but they're powerful, so that way you can start retraining and reprogramming and reconditioning your subconscious mind to see, feel, and listen to your body on such a different level, to where fear no longer plays a role in it, where the fear of having a piece of cake is no longer paralyzing, or will make you radically just like suddenly bloat up, because your body you have neurotransmitters on every single cell of your body. So is it the cake that bloats you? Is going to bloat you. So that's these are just some of the things that we dive into on an even deeper level in Mindful Meals, which I'm so proud of, because I actually had to look at my own perception of this book coming out, because like you said, Dom, like I had those fears and my own comparison of like, well, the fear of oversaturation, of the fear of a large market, the fear of writing another quote unquote diet book. Like, it's not a diet book. Like, I hate the word diet. I don't believe in it. I don't diet. But I had to overcome my own fears in the business world for this book, but it was the same things that I already had to overcome in my body. And so it was just amazing and beautiful how it was reflected back to me in the form of writing this book and releasing it to the world coming in September.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right. And amen to the whole not dieting thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard the reason why people don't diet is because of the first three letters in the word.
I would agree with that, because actually, like, and I dive into this in the book, like diet, the word diet, it comes from Greek, and it comes from the word diete, which means a lifestyle. Only recently, in the past 200 years or so, have we had it to turn into a meaning that means restriction calorically, versus in a way, if you are adopting a new lifestyle, you do have to die to that old self, that old version of you with the bad habits, in order to create this new life, this new vibrant identity. So in a way, like for me, when I look back at the girl who was struggling with her body image and struggling with her weight and struggling with everything related to food, like fears of so many food fears, that every meal that I would sit down to felt like a chore. It felt like a conscious choice, a battle of willpower to eat a meal and then like not throw up, or to choose a meal so that I wouldn't throw up. And that old self, that version of me, in essence, had to die, for lack of a better word, in order to transform and be reborn into the woman now who has no fears, who a piece of cake is no better or worse than a salad. While my body prefers to eat the salad, from time to time when I choose to eat the cake, I can choose to eat the cake, and it's not, it doesn't affect me with the same level of fear or negative emotions that it used to. And thus my body doesn't react to the fear and the negative emotions and add on the emotional weight.
Oh, yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Yeah, that emotional weight, that on top of the regular weight, yeah, that can suck a lot. It's you'll definitely be a sumo wrestler walking around with the emotional weight on
It's
top of the.
so draining. It's so draining. And I just, my heart goes out to the reason why I had to get this book out is I had several clients back to back who were just coming to me with these struggles of things that I saw that I went through and that I had recovered so massively from, but I saw them struggling with that emotional weight. It wasn't necessarily just their weight. It was the deeper structure, that deeper part of the iceberg of the emotional weight, the shame that they had around eating a chocolate chip cookie, or the shame that they would have around enjoying their workplace snacks when all their other coworkers seemed to be like naturally thin and skinny, and they seemed to be like the one who was had a little extra love and a little extra pounds. And it for me, it highlighted, and seeing these clients come to me, I knew that I had to get this book out, because it's the mindset around food and the mindset around how you treat yourself. And it goes back to that relationship that they had. It's like you're basically in an abusive relationship with yourself when you're adding on that emotional weight. And it's hard because you can't divorce yourself from yourself. Like you can't go to divorce court and be like, no, you know what? Hi, judge, meaning AKA God. Like I want to divorce myself from my body. Like, can we separate? Like, can we have an amicable separation? No. Like, unlike in traditional like relationships, like you cannot go to divorce court with your body. So it's time to get some counseling and get some new tools and get some new strategies on how you can repair and heal the relationship.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And funny enough, you already listed one of the tools is just watching your language in a way.
100%. Yeah, looking at the language is key, and self-awareness. Like beyond language, just being self-aware of like where's your starting line? Like once you recognize, like I'm a marathon runner. So I love running marathons. No one in my family knows where it comes from. I'm the weird runner out of everyone. They're like, you are, short with chihuahua legs, and yet you run, 26.2 miles. I've run, I think, 5 or 6 marathons now. And I love it. But when you're driving around and it's early in the morning, and you're trying to look for like, okay, where's the starting line? Like you haven't actually started the race. Like you can't get to mile 26 when you don't know where your starting line is. So the same is true for your body. Like once you become aware of where your starting line is, you can then work your way forward, mile 1, mile 2, mile 4, mile 10, mile 26, so that you are in that race, but you can't start your race when before you know where their starting line is. And that's what this book provides. It provides you with the opportunity to look at, where is your starting line? Like, where is your relationship if you were to be a Facebook status with your body? Like, where is your relationship with your body? Are you separated? Are you struggling in divorce court with your body and the judge isn't letting you have your way? Like, or are you happily married? Have you been treating your body like a side chick? Like I was on another podcast, and the podcast interview, she had, oh my gosh, it was so funny. She had a breakthrough while I was talking about the book, and she was like, oh my God, I've been treating my body like a side chick. Like, I see her occasionally. I occasionally take her out and treat her nice, but then normally I just am like, hey baby, I'll catch you later when I feel like it. And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm using that forever.
That is gold.
But it's so true. Like, if you look at it, of like people with New Year's resolutions, like if you set a New Year's resolution, you're basically to treat your body a certain way. Say you want to start taking her out to go to the gym, like, and you go for like a week or so, and then you don't visit her until like next year. That's a freaking side chick, and it's like having a a love affair in another state, and you're like, oh, next time I go back to Canada, then I'll visit, so and so, and you don't happen to go back to Canada for like a year.
Oh yeah, it's like, hey baby, I'm back. That's right.
Yep. Hey baby, I'm back. Like, let's hook up, let's hang out, let's Netflix and chill.
Oh man, that's right. Don't treat your body like a side chick. That's right.
Don't treat your body like a side chick. Exactly. And so you got it's about bringing it back from that side chick into like having that, what is it? One of my clients called it, is it called a DTL? I'm so out of like, it's like that where is this going conversation that you have in a relationship. Like when you're starting to date somebody and you're kind of feeling them out, like you need to have that, where is this going conversation. It's always that weird conversation because you're like, does he like me enough to stay with me? Or does he like, where is this going? Like, I feel like this could be a good possibility. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous when I had that conversation with my husband. Like, I was so nervous. I literally could not leave his apartment without turning around and saying that like, so where is this going? So like, can you not see anybody else? And I remember having that conversation, but it's about having that courageous conversation with your body. And it sounds silly. And yet sometimes it's the silliness of it, the playfulness of like, let's have that conversation. Let's have that where is this going conversation of like, so are we just going to like see each other next year again? Or are we actually going to commit and like, this is going to start being a relationship and we're going to try to make this work? Like that's the level of conversation that this book brings, so that we get you back into that counseling sort of space so that you can have that, where is this going, courageous conversation with your body. And then you get the tools as to how to move forward and rebuild that trust.
That's right. All sorts of rebuilding, baby. That's right. Pulling out all the bricks and cinder blocks. That's right. And the cement, indeed. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. That's right. Heck, even for some people, it's like, yeah, okay, so no more side chick. They're on the main chick. And then they
Yep.
get the it's complicated phase probably halfway through.
Exactly. And are you in the Facebook status of, and it's complicated with your body? And because if you look at the relationship, like it's complicated sometimes comes from the broken trust. It comes from having those fears around food. It comes around from having that lack of trust. Like, one of the top things that I say is to eliminate cheating. It's a chapter in my book to stop cheating. And it's not like you're having a cheat meal or having it's just to stop using the language of cheating, because cheating to your unconscious mind is cheating to your unconscious mind. And so how do you feel when you've been cheated on? Well, you feel angry, you feel pissed, like you want to go carry Underwood on that person's car. Like, you're like, I am going to like bust out some Kelly Clarkson. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out. I'm going to show them, like, here's all my anger, my rage, and as my husband calls it, the Disparatrim diet. and then how do you feel when you're the cheater? Like, sometimes you feel guilt, you feel shame, you feel fear that you're going to get caught. Well, when you're using the word cheat in any form of your language to describe any meal that you're consuming, it's sending the same linguistic signals to your unconscious mind. So your unconscious mind is getting signals that you're having a cheat meal. So you're cheating. So you're both the victim of being cheated on and you are the cheater, which sends a lot of mixed messages and negative emotional weight to that meal, to that experience, where why not just make the meal just a meal that you want to enjoy? Like, why add the language, the commands to your unconscious that you are cheating? Why not just have it be, a choice to enjoy a creme brulee with your dinner, rather than like, oh, I'm being so bad, I'm cheating, versus I'm enjoying a creme brulee. Like, there's a difference in the energy and the emotions that go into it. If you're just enjoying a creme brulee with your dinner because you just wanted a dessert, there's no longer that emotional weight of it meaning anything other than I just wanted it. Like, I wanted to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. And you get to have the full enjoyment of the experience versus the emotional weight of like, oh, should I get it? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I should get it. Oh, okay, I really want it, but I would be cheating on my diet, and then okay, I'll have it, but then hold on, let me eat it. Let me try to enjoy it. And trying, I trust Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. I'll try to enjoy it, but then I really will beat myself up afterward because I should feel guilty that I had this thing. So there's a lot of mental processes and additional mental weight that you're adding to that one dessert or that one food, versus why not just have it be something that's easy? Why not just have it be a decision and a choice to enjoy, just like any other decision or choice to enjoy?
Yep, that's true indeed. The key is just making the right decisions beforehand, so that way you don't have that regret moment down the road, and heck, even have a metaphorical fight with yourself, like
Yeah.
internally, not like externally.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Because
actually
when you
punch
just
yourself in front of people in a
exactly,
restaurant.
exactly. Like, what if it was just a choice like any other choice? What if it was just, I choose to have fries with that? What if it's, I choose to have a salad? But it's when we add on that extra guilt and shame and fear and negative emotions and cheating, and then the belief that we have to, and I use have to in quotes because it's a choice, the belief that we quote unquote have to beat ourselves up about enjoying something or feeling pleasure from a food or from our bodies, like that is what taints the whole experience. And that is what this book is about. It's about the deeper structure of looking at what is the meaning that you're putting into the food. What is the meaning that you're putting into your body or into your size? Like, what's the meaning? Because nothing has meaning except the meaning that you give it, to quote Tony Robbins. And so the meaning that you're giving to it, the meaning that you're giving to maybe some extra pounds, the meaning that you're giving to losing weight, like, look at those statements that you're making, because that's it circles back to looking at your language, because if you think that by losing, if I lose, it comes down to an if then statement. So if I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be confident. Then I will be loved. Then I will find a boyfriend. Then I will whatever. If you are experiencing these if then statements and waiting on the weight to enjoy your life and waiting on a diet or something to change your life, rather than just experiencing in the now confidence, joy, vivaciousness, and all of those emotions, like, why can't you experience them now? Why do you have to wait till 10 pounds later? Because I guarantee you it goes back to that holistic fulfillment and happens in the now. It happens in the present moment. And so if you're waiting to be fulfilled, waiting on some external thing, maybe it's losing 10 pounds, maybe it's fitting into that old dress of yours, maybe it's waiting for your business to be profitable for you to feel joy that and success. Like, or if you're waiting to get that first client or whatever you're waiting on to feel how you want to feel, you're not going to be an energetic match to actually receive that, because you're not going to be on the same energetic level emotionally to attract that into your world. Or when it comes into your world, you won't be able to see it.
Heck yeah. And heck, it goes back to like square one at the beginning. It's like awareness. It's
Amen. It's 100% awareness. Just where is your starting line?
That's right. Gotta know where
Because
the starting line is.
yeah, once you know your starting line, it's you can go from 0 to mile 1. You can go from mile 1 to mile 10. But if you don't know where your starting line, you can see everybody crossing the finish line at mile 26. You may even be looking at mile 26, but you're not actually in the race. And that's where we get into comparisоnism. Because if you're not actually running in the race and you're seeing people crossing the finish line, you're like, well, how can I do that? Well, you have to find your starting line.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, 'cause folks we don't want folks thinking you're quote unquote cheating. Start up 10
Exactly.
mile mark.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're quote unquote cheating.
Oh,
And
man.
then you feel lots of fear and guilt and shame around that. And we just, no to those negative emotions.
That's right. A big N-O before the B and a J known as Ben and Jerry comes to join the party. It's like, yep, we knew you loved us. We're back.
Yep.
That's right. Forget the whole little cup. It's the whole tub now. Let's join. Let's fully commit here.
Go all in. Just go all in. And it's a lovely little shame spiral that we can send ourselves on when that self-awareness, or when we get wrapped up in focusing outward on external validation, on other people, on 10 pounds, losing 10 pounds, on something that's outside of ourselves. Whatever it is that we're focusing outside of ourselves, we need to be able to recognize it within ourselves. And so knowing your starting line comes from within. It doesn't come from looking at other people crossing the finish line. That's not how you cross your finish line. You have to start from within. Look at how you're treating yourself, how you're loving yourself, how kind you're being to yourself, and your language. Like, what are you saying about yourself? What are you saying about other people? What are you saying in your mind? And I'm not necessarily saying out loud. Sometimes, like, the person in our mind can be a lot nastier than what we say out loud.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Definitely right about that. And I did love what you said earlier about the shame spiral. And it's like, that is so darn true. It's like I've like never heard that before. And it's so darn true. It's like especially in the beginning of something and you're trying to change your mindset, you go through that phase of like, all right, is this good? Is this good? Up. Oh shoot, the computer exploded. All right, back to square one. Then the metaphorical computer explodes in your face again. It's like, oh shoot. Yeah.
And when you're stuck in it, it definitely creates this, and I see it a lot with high achievers, of one thing goes wrong or one thing goes off, and then suddenly it's like they start comparing themselves, and instead of course correcting immediately, you get kind of sucked into this vortex of crappy emotions and a shame spiral that if you're aware enough of what triggers that, then you can be aware enough to curtail it before you're flushed in essence down the toilet.
Yeah, man. That's right. Don't give your success a swirly. It doesn't deserve it.
Keep your success holding on the rim. Hold on to that toilet seat.
Oh, man.
Just the visual on that is astounding.
Oh, man. That's right. From success glaze to holding your hands, keeping it on the rim. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And having your relationship with your body be a side chick.
That's right. Keep it the main chick. Don't make it a side
Keep it the
chick.
main chick. Yeah. Got to stay married to it.
Yep, that's right. It's cheaper to keep her.
Jeff Bezos was no.
My God, yes. I thought Tiger Woods' wife cleaned up a few years ago. Damn, she really cleaned up. My goodness. My goodness, cleaned up. Cleaned up indeed. Oh, and speaking of cleaning up with all of your amassed knowledge and experience, and funny enough, you probably don't have to go back too far for this one, but if you're to wake up tomorrow with all of your amassed experiences too, and you're 25 again in the current year of 2019, what advice would you give to yourself?
So I'm able to keep all my knowledge and my experience, and I go back to being 25.
That's right. You get to basically press the reset button. Not totally.
Ooh, and I get to keep all my knowledge and experience.
That's right.
Oh, that's a good place to go. Um, uh, start now. Everything that you fear, like everything, and I don't mean like if you fear bungee jumping, like don't run and take a flying leap off a building necessarily, like without being strapped to something. But like I would tell my 25-year-old self, those things that scare you, but also you feel the feelings of excitement a little bit. Like it's scary and it's exciting. Do that. Like 100% do that. Because those are the moments where you're leaning into your own growth. So I challenge I challenge myself daily to do something that scares me, to do something and that stretches me in some way. What is a big ask that I could ask someone? What is a referral that I could ask for? What is something that I could do that would really stretch me? What is something that I can lean into that? How can I lean into that fear and just a little bit more? Because it's those moments that really stretch your growth. Like we grow under pressure, not necessarily like you have to put added pressure on yourself, but we grow because of stress. If you think of it from a physiological standpoint, your muscle, you have to stress it. You have to work it out to have it work. Now, if you work it out too much, it can spasm if you're under too much stress. But you need that little bit of stress in order to lean into that so that to grow faster. And sometimes we fear experiencing that stress. And that stress is actually a good sign, depending upon how much. So I would tell my 25-year-old self, Lean into those things that are scaring you and trust your gut 100%, because your gut, that instinctive, intuitive women's intuition of like, probably shouldn't get into this relationship. Maybe you should listen to your gut. Just listen to your gut, period.
That's right. Listen to that gut indeed. That's right. Have a mindful gut. That's right. It has a mind of its own. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Especially when it kicks, probably.
It's just because you're pregnant with purpose.
PWP. That's what I'm talking about.
Pregnant with purpose.
That's right.
That's going to be the title of my album. All songs that you can bump dance to. When I was pregnant, my husband and I, we went to New Orleans, and he filmed me with all the cool street performers going around and doing what I call the bump dance, where my little bump would just dance around to the music. Like I would just rock and roll, and there would be an added bump to the bumpty bump. It was amazing. It's really fun.
Oh, man. Alrighty. All the record scratching awaits. This is going to be great.
Boom to boom. Yep. So pregnant with purpose.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The high performance is still kicking, baby. That's right.
Always.
That's right. Businesses, books, albums.
Babies.
That's right. Babies, indeed. Yes, indeed. Making new rulers. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Not just the ones that the nuns carry either. That's right.
Exactly. Always keep stretching yourself. Like, and you want to, stretch yourself and then allow it to relax. And because if you keep stretching yourself if you're always pushing and always stretching, then you get stretch marks versus if you're allowing for some stretch and then relaxing and then some stretch and then growth. So you need that. It's about having that harmony. Like if you were in a symphony and only the horn section played, like you wouldn't want to sit through that for 6 hours. But you need that, the mellifluous violins to come in. You need the blaring of the horns. You need all of it to ebb and flow beautifully in harmony. And that creates a fulfilling, successful experience. Success without fulfillment is like the horn section just blowing for hours and hours and hours, and it's not necessarily something you want to listen to all the time. Versus having that fulfillment with the success, that's when you get a full-on symphony in your life.
That's beautiful right there. That's right, the symphony live.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. Don't want them trumpets blowing forever. You're thinking some random chariots are going to come out of nowhere.
It's the Viking call.
Oh, yeah. That's right. All the seasons. Let me stop. Oh, man. Well, all right. So for those who want to keep in contact with you, what's the best way to reach out to wonderful Special K?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Kimberly.Spencer or follow my business at Crown Yourself Now. And all the lovely info is at crownyourself.com. If you're interested in getting Mindful Meals, How to Dethrone Food Fears and Reign in a Body That Rules, it is available on pre-order now. So you can get it and you'll be able to have access to chapters as they are released over the next few weeks before the book is out. So you get kind of the firsthand dibs in order to start changing your life now rather than in your relationship with your body. And so you can get into, body counseling in essence with marital body counseling now rather than waiting until September. So if that is of interest to you, you can always go to crownyourself.com, and you can always listen to my podcast, The Princess and the Bee, which is where we will also be releasing new unheard chapters before the audiobook version comes out.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, there you have it, folks. Go on out there, pre-order the book, order the book, follow the podcast as well, The Princess and the Bee. That's right. Well, I wouldn't say all the bees because, there's a certain type of bee that you kind of don't want to deal with. But it's not on that podcast at all. It's it's the good bee, like the books, the business, the bodies, the bank accounts, the babies.
The babies, the belief systems, the boldness.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to deal with that bee that you don't really want to deal with, and you got to kick her off your throne and sit your cute butt right down on your throne and reign like the queen you were born to be, or king in your case, Dom.
Okay, good. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to train the route. We got enough of that. Well, all right. Any part words for the wonderful folks still listening?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Dom, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for this experience. I have enjoyed thoroughly our rambunctious shenanigans and conversation. And as always, to everyone still listening, keep going. Keep leaning into those things that your gut says to go do, even if they scare you. And trust your gut and have faith, because your success is inevitable.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation.